What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Lexi J Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Lexi Johnson, and once again, this is 2 weeks in a row now. It is the solo Lexi show. Normally, my husband Brett is with me, but he's not here right now just because we are living in this weird. I feel like I have to explain this every time, just in case this is the first time you're listening to this. But our new house is not quite finished. We sold our old house, so we're living in a weird arrangement right now where he has to work in office, and that's about 4 hours away. I am here with our dogs, and I'm living at the lake. We're fortunate enough that his family has a lake house that we can live in with no rent in that interim period, which is super nice. And then he comes down on the weekends. But the past couple weekends have been a little wonky where, again, we've been either separated or just not in a place where we can record. So it is the solo Lexi show this week, and I'm crossing my fingers. I mean, he is for sure going to be here this weekend because we've got Christmas coming up. So we'll have the gang back together. It'll be Lexi and Brett next week, and I'm so looking forward to that. But that's really kind of what I just wanted to talk about. Honestly, I was texting Brett back and forth, and I was like, man, it's hard to come up with something to talk about because it has to be something that you really have conviction on if you're going to talk about it solo. And I think that Brett, to an extent, is kind of a security blanket when I do the podcast. And it was a lot of the reason that I just love having him here because, one, it's just way more easier. It's way easier to communicate when there's someone else there to kind of fill in the gaps and for sure complement your weaknesses. But it has to be something that you genuinely believe in if you're going to talk solo for an extended period of time. And I won't take up a lot of your time because I know you guys live very, busy lives. And I also don't believe in just providing fluff for the sake of passing time. I think that we can provide value and get to the point and then let you be on your way. But Christmas is right around the corner. And I know that with Christmas and the holidays and just everything in general around this time of year can be extremely stressful. And when you're thinking of gifting, because Christmas so heavily involves that, it's a kind of an anxiety ridden and stressful event when you're thinking about getting the perfect gift or providing the best experience for your loved ones. Because I am such a gift giver. I love giving an experience. I love giving something memorable. I love picking out something that is special. I don't like giving gift cards or things like that. That just feels like a filler to me. But with that being said, it gets harder and harder, I feel, every single year because, well, just for a number of factors. But it has become increasingly, become increasingly aware of just how important time is and how important your presence is. So for instance, just a solid example is that I now split time where I used to always, be able to go to sleep in the same house as my husband and the same room as my husband. And now we've spent just a handful of days together in the past month. I used to enjoy our breakfast and our morning routine together, and that's not really something that we do right now just because, again, we're living separately. Same deal with our evening routine and being able to see each other after work. And those are just those little moments that I hate to say it this way, but I feel like I took it for granted before because, of course, I'm going to, come home to my husband. Of course, I'm going to spend that time with my husband at the end of the day. But until you're in a situation where that's not an option, you really just kind of, that's your default setting. Another thing, because this has been a really weird living situation. It's kind of like an isolation tank down here. The Lake of the Ozarks is very, very isolated and kind of desolate in the winter because obviously that's not the common time for someone to visit the lake. So it's pretty lonely down here, and I was just kind of getting down in the dumps, feeling sorry for myself that I was by myself, and so I called in backup, and the backup is my grandma Mary, and I swear there is nothing that just a grandparent's presence cannot fix. So I'm becoming increasingly aware of just how special and unique that relationship is, but also how limited that time is. And it makes me emotional just to think about this, but I had posted on my Instagram story just, I called in backup, and it was my grandma and I just sitting on the couch watching a Christmas movie the other night, and I got so many responses. And then I had posted again, I can't remember what I had posted of my grandma, and so many responses, like more engagement than I don't know, pretty much anything. That is something that all of us have a common ground in is one, we just have that loved one in our life. And it could be our grandma, it could be a grandpa, a parent, or, some figure in their life that relationship is just so special. And I'm fortunate enough to have that with all four of my grandparents. They're still living. That's so special. And the more that I think about it, I'm like, damn, this time is finite, and it's not something that I can just take for granted and assume that it's always going to be there. And when you're thinking about it in terms of gifting and making the Christmas season and that experience just so memorable, rather than providing all that fluff that, you could wrap in a paper bag or would look pretty in an Instagram photo under the Christmas tree, make sure that you're showing up and you're being present and you're giving the experience of your full presence, the intent there is for you to enjoy the company of your loved ones. And I struggle with this a lot because I'm someone that is really thinking, what am I going to do next? What am I going to, what do I need to get done? And even on Christmas, that part of my brain doesn't shut off at all, but it's something that I really want to be aware of because like I said, I'm just becoming more and more aware that the time spent with these people is not promised. The time spent with your parents is not guaranteed. The time spent with your grandparents certainly isn't promised, and it's not something that's going to be around and available forever. So you really cannot take advantage or can't take for granted those opportunities. And that's just something that's like really hit home for me. And it's just, I'm so fortunate to have those relationships. And because I know Christmas can be so stressful for a lot of people, and it just brings a lot of heightened anxiety because whether finances are tight or you have to spread or reallocate all of that, it can be really stressful, and you sometimes just don't feel like you're enough. But you have to remember that the best gift that you can give, I genuinely think this, is time. It's time and attention. And time is so valuable because that's one thing that, you can't work extra hard for. You can't invest in to get more of. Time is not something that anyone can buy or trade or inflate, anything like that. So genuinely spending your time in an intentional way this Christmas season and moving into 2024, just making that a bigger priority for me, at least, is something that I'm going to for sure do. And it's one thing when you say, okay, in 2024, I'm going to be more present. And that's just a really, really vague goal to have. It's a good intended goal, but I think it's really vague. So to think of some ways that you can make that actionable and measurable in order for you to hold yourself accountable to that goal. And whether you're going to call your grandparents once a week, or you're going to set a standing date to, grab coffee, grab lunch, go by their house, write them a note, send them a letter, anything like that. And just be more intentional with the people around you, with the people that love you. I am speaking in terms of my grandparents or my parents or my husband, but those people don't have to be blood relatives. They can be just the special people in your life that deserve that same attention and time and effort, because that's the greatest gift you can give, genuinely. So while you're scrambling and you're hearing this the week before Christmas, and you likely have all your shopping done and probably the stress is a little bit lower now, but just remember that that's the best gift you can give. That I was actually talking to Brett recently because, I didn't grow up with a ton of wealth or anything. Like my parents we have a lot of kids, we have a big family, and they worked as a fireman and a public school 5th grade teacher. So it's not like they were bringing in the big bucks or anything, but I, to this day, never ever felt like I was shorted a Christmas experience or anything like that. It always just felt so special, and it's because of that intention behind it. So I just wanted to share that because I know that the time around this, or this time of year, can be really stressful. It can be something where you play that comparison game, and I think that social media only heightens it. But those memories that you're going to have are going to be based on the interactions. They're going to be based on the quality time that you're spending with your loved ones. It's not going to be based on the price tag of what's under the Christmas tree or how much you spent on whatever gift for your Secret Santa. Just make sure that you're going into this time and you're cherishing the time that you have, because it's not promised and it can't be bought. So I wanted to keep it short and sweet, guys. I am going to go join my grandma upstairs. We're going to finish watching Home Alone 2. So I will talk to you guys later. I hope you have a phenomenal Christmas, because we won't talk to you until then. But Merry Christmas from Brett and I. I think that we can speak from both of us that we are just so incredibly grateful for you guys and appreciate you listening and giving feedback and supporting us. We're really, really thankful to have you guys in our corner and to feel that we're in your corner also. So thankful for you guys, and almost a full 365 days of doing this podcast with Brett. But we're really excited for where it's going to go. And again, if you guys ever have any recommendations, podcast topics, or questions that you'd like us to address, we'd love to hear it. If you have any Christmas themed stuff, because that'll be fresh on the brain next week when we're recording. So you can always email those to pod@lexijwellness.com. But in the meantime, I hope you have a phenomenal week. I hope that you spend it with your loved ones and that you create a lot of great memories this week. So I'll talk to you later, girl. I'm always so used to talking to girls. Talk to you later, everybody.